It was supposed to be a weekend getaway, a group of friends looking to escape the noise of city life. A secluded cabin in the woods, miles from the nearest town, promised the perfect place to relax, unwind, and reconnect. But what they didn't know was that the peace they sought would soon turn into their worst nightmare. After hours of driving, they finally arrived. The cabin was tucked away between towering pines, almost hidden from view. It looked old, but charming, like something out of a fairy tale. Little did they know, the cabin had seen much more than its fair share of visitors, and none of them had left unscathed. Inside the dimly lit cabin, the group of friends is unpacking their bags and chatting excitedly. The rustic wooden walls of the cabin are adorned with old decorations, and the furniture is worn but cozy. The atmosphere is lighthearted, with scattered bags, jackets, and drinks as the group relaxes. A large window reveals the darkening forest outside the cabin at twilight, with shadows growing longer and the sky turning dark. The interior is lit by a crackling fire, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The friends sit around the fire, talking and laughing, but the atmosphere begins to feel heavier, as if something is lurking just outside. A noise from outside the cabin caught their attention. It was faint at first, just the sound of something scraping against the walls. But as it grew louder, the friends grew uneasy. One of them stood up and approached the window, and that's when they saw it. A figure stood at the edge of the woods, motionless, just staring. It wasn't a person, at least not one of their own. The figure's face was obscured by a hood or shadow, but its presence was unmistakable. The air grew still, and the group's laughter faltered. The group decided to investigate the noise, though none of them felt brave enough to go outside alone. When they stepped onto the porch, they noticed something unsettling: footprints in the dirt, leading away from the cabin. They were large and uneven, as though someone, or something, had been watching them. That night, the group locked all the doors and windows, but sleep didn't come easy. Every creak of the house, every snap of a twig outside, kept them on edge. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, they heard it, the unmistakable sound of something scratching at the door. The next morning, they searched the perimeter of the cabin. The strange footprints had disappeared, and there were no signs of anyone nearby. But as they ventured further into the woods, they came across something that would change everything. A small, forgotten campsite, abandoned long ago, except for a single, unsettling object. On the edge of the campsite, they found a warning, written on a tattered piece of paper, nailed to a tree. "Leave now, before it's too late." The handwriting was jagged, hurried, and it was clear. They weren't the first to feel the terror of this place. Back at the cabin, the atmosphere grew even more suffocating. The feeling of being watched intensified, and shadows seemed to flicker and move with a mind of their own. As night fell again, one friend saw something, two glowing eyes peering through the window. One by one, the friends began to feel the presence of something closing in on them. It was no longer just a feeling, it was real. The sound of breathing, slow and deliberate, could be heard just outside the door. And the worst part? It wasn't alone. In a panic, the group tried to flee the cabin, but the woods had become a maze. No matter how far they ran, they could never escape the feeling of being hunted. They weren't just lost, they were being stalked, and something far worse than the woods was after them. It was at the edge of the forest that they finally saw it. A creature, tall and twisted, emerging from the trees. Its eyes glowed, and its body was contorted, its limbs unnaturally long. It had been watching them from the start, and now it was time to claim its prize. The forest is silent now. No sign of the group remains, only the remnants of their abandoned cabin. Some say the creature still roams these woods, waiting for its next victims. And if you ever find yourself lost in these woods, remember, there's no escape. Not for them, not for you.